welcome. We are happy that you are here. And without further ado, I invite the president of this great association, Chris Young.
Good morning. How y'all are? It's good to see everybody. Turn to your neighbor and say, I'm excited to be here. Now turn to another neighbor and say, show it in your face. How can you not smile when you have such wonderful representation from all over the globe here? How wonderful was it to see all of you stand up in your bright and shining smiling faces when your name or when your countries were shown. That makes me so happy. Thank you for all of you who have traveled great distances. Places like Guam and places like Australia, places like the UAE and Iraq, places that are thousands of miles or kilometers. Oh, wait, we haven't got that metric system thing down pat right here. I don't know. You know, somebody the other day said it's 90 degrees, and they looked at me really strangely, like 90 degrees, shouldn't you be almost boiling by now? Bear with us, bear with us. We are so thrilled that you are here. This is going to be a wonderful, intensive, exciting, momentum-filled 3 days. So we ask you for a couple of things. One, you're protocol professionals, so pack your patience and your forbearance, because when you're moving as many people that are around you from point A to point B, not everyone's going to get there at the same time, but we're going to try to start at the same time. Your program said 8 o'clock this morning. We started at 8:01 because Diane felt a little graceful this morning, so she was going to give you an extra minute. Since she's retired, it's not always military strictness anymore. But we will start on time. But I want to say a few things to get things started this morning, rather. I'm going to challenge you like I did the new members yesterday in the new member orientation, and Diane made mention of it, that one out of three of you have never been to a forum or are new members of our association. That is an astonishing number, and something we're extraordinarily proud of. And that, to me, is the most important thing that you will learn this week. But we'll get to that in a second. So I'm going to challenge you to do three things. Number one, every single session, I'm upping the game from what I told the new members yesterday. Every single session, learn something new. In your program, in your notes, come out of something with something written down. I have learned this. Write it down now, because you'll forget. Like the old man and woman who had been married 60 years, and the man got up one evening and said, honey, I'm gonna go make myself some ice cream. Would you like some? And she said, yeah, I will. So do you want anything on your ice cream? He said, yeah, can you put me some hot fudge sauce on there? And he said, yeah, I'll do it. She said, but honey, write it down. You'll forget it time to get to the kitchen. I can remember walking to the kitchen. Do you want anything else on your ice cream other than hot fudge? He said, yeah, could you sprinkle me some pecans on there? But honey, there's a pad and pencil. Write it down. You'll forget it time you get to the kitchen. I can remember walking to the kitchen. So he goes and he's gone forever. Pots and pans clanging around, things going on in the kitchen. 20 minutes later, he comes back with a great big platter of scrambled eggs. And his wife said, honey, I knew if you didn't write it down, you'd forget my bacon. So write it down. Learn something new. Number two, every day I'm upping the game, meet 5 new people. Now that should be a challenge by the time we get to Thursday, because hopefully you've met a lot of people. Meet 5 new people. The number one attribute of this association, to me personally, are the men and women who are sitting in these chairs. Bar none, period, exclamation point, end of story, close the scene. These are the finest persons in the profession, and they are our finest resources. I'll learn a lot, just like you, from the people who sit in these chairs and the people who lead the breakout sessions, but I'll learn so much sitting around a lunch table, in a bus going from point A to point B, chatting in the hallways afterward. Do not miss an opportunity to network. Number 3, I added this from yesterday, share yourselves. We are in a quote-unquote safe environment. We speak the same language. We tell the same tales. We work with the same frustrations and challenges. We share the same triumphs. To that end, you will likely hear stories and things said today, tomorrow, and Thursday that do not need to leave these premises. Names may need to be changed to protect the guilty, okay? Or the innocent, but usually the guilty. So whatever tales are told, they stay here because they're for your educational upbringing, edification, help, whatever you want to put it as. They're for you. So don't go tell tales out of school. But you can tell tales to us. That's okay. All right? And number 4, finally, have fun. If you can't have fun with this group who finally lets down their hair because we are so buttoned up, we testify, I feel an amen up here on the front row. We are so buttoned up, we are so to the point and matter of fact on everything we do that sometimes we forget to have fun. Well, this is all about you this week. It's about your education, but it's also an opportunity to celebrate who we are and what we do. Protocol literally is the Greek root for to glue together, to glue things together. You, ladies and gentlemen, are the glue that holds things together. You are that bridge builder. You are the person who sets the right conditions for business and diplomacy to succeed. Without you, what happens? But we're here to celebrate that, not just go, oh, I have to learn more. We're here to celebrate that. So I want you to do one more thing for me. I want you to tap the person behind you, and if you're sitting where there's nobody behind you, find somebody else and say, you are the glue. Now, none of you are like old gray mares that are going to be taken out to a glue factory or anything along those lines. We are a vibrant and strong association that spans the entire globe. In just 6 years, we've grown from a few dozen members to literally hundreds. We work in government, in military, in academia, in the private sector, in museums and cultural institutions, and some of us even do our own thing. As we grow, we want to recognize those among us who have maintained their membership for a consecutive number of years. This year, we will recognize those of you with at least 5 years of consecutive membership, and then those of you with at least 10 years of consecutive membership. You will receive a special pin that we hope you will wear this conference, this forum, with pride. This will become part of an annual part of our program, recognizing those who achieve these anniversaries within the association. And in 2016, we'll pass out our first 15-year pins. Now, here's what's going to happen. Lainey Denslow, our president-elect, and Monica Early, there she is, our vice president of membership, and my 3 predecessors, Ann Beard, Ginger Barnard, and Sonia Garza Monarchy, will move up here. So now I'm going to ask them to come join me up here on the floor. As I call your name, stand up. One of them will move to you and give you your pin. And since we're protocol professionals, let me give it to you in briefing form. When you hear your name, stand, wait, shake their hand, get your pin, sit down. Rinse and repeat. Stand, wait, shake their hand, get your pin, sit down. For those of you who want a photograph, we'll take one later, okay? Now, if you'll hand me one of the 5-year. So here's what it'll look like for those of you. We'll do the 5 years first. You'll get on our PDI cardstock, and you'll get a nice commemorative anniversary pin that has your anniversary year number under it. And then I'll show you what the 10 years look like. And then we'll have a 15-year later when we get to our 2016 forum. On the slides to my left and right, you will see the names of the persons who are receiving the pins in alphabetical order. Even though some folks couldn't be here this week, we wanted you to see the names of those folks that we honor and honor their commitment and dedication. But we'll only be calling the names of the persons who are physically in attendance. Now, I will repeat, these is for consecutive years of membership. Some of you may come in later on and say, well, I was a member from 2004 to 6 and then 8 to 9 and came back in 2014. Love it. Glad you're back. we had trouble with math, okay? We just looked and saw if people were consecutive, okay? So this will move rapidly, so be prepared. And if you think there's an error, just tell us afterwards. So Protocol Diplomacy International Protocol Officers Association honors those members who have been part of the association for 5 or more years. And this is something that we'll do annually. Obviously, we had to clear the decks the first time we ever did this. It was long. So next year, when we're together at our forum in 2015, we'll do the same thing. Those of you who achieve your 5-year and 10-year anniversaries of consecutive membership, we'll recognize you and you'll get your pin. And then in 2016, we'll add 15 to the list and they become a collector series, just like NASCAR plates or something like that. No. Much more valuable than that. Because really, the heartbeat of our association and the heartbeat of our organization are you, the members. And without you, we would be nothing. So thank you. It's now my pleasure to introduce to you one of our longtime members who also happens to be a very prominent person in the protocol world here in Washington, D.C. She will introduce our morning welcome speaker. My pleasure to bring up to you PDI-POA member, Dr. Patricia Elwood. Dr. Elwood is the Director of Office of Protocol and International Affairs in the Office of the Secretary of the District of Columbia in the Executive Office of the Mayor. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Pat Elwood.
Thank you for that introduction, Chris, and good morning to everybody. Thank you. Thank you for that introduction, and I am very excited about all of your being here in our hometown. I am really looking forward to learning so much at this forum, and I am honored to start telling you something by telling you about our Mayor of Washington, D.C., the Honorable Vincent C. Gray. First of all, the mayor is one of the hardest working people I have ever known. He works 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Despite his rigorous schedule, he maintains a demeanor that is warm, supportive, and caring. He has done so much to improve the quality of life for so many people in this city. The mayor recognizes that Washington, D.C. is the capital of the United States. He understands the importance of the diplomatic corps being located in our city and always strives to make them feel that this is their home away from home. He gets it. The mayor has introduced many other businesses to D.C. in addition to government, and we are now known to be a growing new technology hub. He has attracted foreign business to D.C., and we are currently seeing new residents move here at the rate of 1,000 people per month. Mayor Gray is the 6th mayor of D.C. because the residents of this city have only been able to vote for their leaders since 1974. Prior to his inauguration as mayor in January 2011, Mayor Gray served as chairman of the Council of the District of Columbia, and before that, as a council member representing his ward. He was also the director of the D.C. Department of Human Services. Mayor Gray is a native Washingtonian and earned his degree at George Washington University. Let me try that again. He was one of the first African Americans at the university and the first to join any fraternity. He joined Tau Epsilon Pi, where he was the first person to serve 2 consecutive terms as president. The mayor is a good athlete and was offered an opportunity after graduating from high school to play professional baseball, which he turned down. Chris, can you believe that? No. He sacrificed his desire to play professional baseball to attend college. With a firm commitment to aggressively move the district forward, the Gray administration remains focused in making Washington, D.C. a world-class city. I hope it is obvious to all of you that I respect my mayor and love working for him. It is now my honor to ask you all to welcome our Mayor of Washington, D.C., the Honorable Vincent C. Gray.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Wow, this group has wonderful protocol. You know, when I was walking down the hall, I just happened to come down, and what I heard was, "Get your pen and sit down." So, so wait a minute, am I in the right place? This doesn't sound like protocol or diplomacy. I want to thank Dr. Pat Elwood for such a nice introduction. She is a wonderful professional and a dear friend, and she has done so much for our city. I appreciate her so much, and I'm just delighted to be here. So, Pat, thank you so much for having me come today, and thank you to the association for having me come, and thank you so much for what you've done for the District of Columbia. I also have to recognize I call her the Secretary of State. You see, that's what her title would be everywhere else. She's the Secretary of the District of Columbia. But if she were in any of the other 50 states, she would be the Secretary of State. So in the interest of pursuing our aspirations as aggressively as we can, I refuse to call her the Secretary of the District of Columbia. Cynthia Brocksmith is the Secretary of the State of New Columbia. And she too does a great job. I've known Pat and Cynthia for years, and I really appreciate the fact that they both have worked so hard to be able to move our city forward. By the way, I appreciate the shout out about George Washington University as well, which we are only blocks from. It's a university that has grown tremendously as well. It has, I don't know, probably close to 20,000 students now, maybe even more when you include the part-time students. So anyway, thank you so much. You know, there's some who probably would say that welcoming a room full of protocol professionals who are skilled in diplomacy at, what time is it? About 8:30 in the morning, a little after 8:30 in the morning, is probably as daunting a task as there is. I didn't know how many people to expect to be in this room, but I guess protocol would say everybody shows up on time, right? And is ready for the day. And I'm really delighted that you all have chosen the District of Columbia for this, I guess it's the 13th. Is it 13th? Yeah, 13th, okay. International Education Forum. What better place to be than the District of Columbia and, of course, our nation's capital. As the mayor of this great city, you can't be in this job and be a stranger to diplomatic protocol. Mayor of a major U.S. city, almost by definition, is a formal position. And I don't really like formality that much. I kind of like to be casual, and you know, I'd love to just walk out, you know, and talk with you this morning rather than being behind a podium and a microphone. But I think we know that proper protocol is hugely important because as a capital city, as perhaps the most powerful capital in the world, here in the United States, it is hugely important to be able to know how to be able to receive and relate to people. You know, the international community in many ways doesn't separate local Washington from federal Washington, but let me assure you, we do. I don't know if you all saw in the paper the other day. We take so much abuse in the District of Columbia. We have, by the way, a population now. You heard 1,000 to 1,200 a month. We now have a population that is at 600, I think about 660,000, because we were using 647,000, but that was a year ago. If you do the math, you figure out pretty quickly we're at about 660,000. We have more people here than the state of Vermont. We have more people than the state of Wyoming. But we had a congressman who actually made the statement that the Congress was our local legislature. Lord help us. But we had some people who were, some of our advocates who were aggressive enough to say, oh, you're our local legislative body? And there were about 40 people who showed up down there at his office to lodge constituent complaints. Haven't heard from him recently. And we do get imposed upon tremendously. But that unfortunately comes with the territory until it changes, and the day will come. It won't be tomorrow or next week or next month or even next year, but the day will come when we change all of that. And you know what? Democracy will come to the District of Columbia. Won't that be an exciting concept to bring to our nation's capital? Did you all know, by the way, that we're the only one of 119 nations' capitals in the free world that doesn't have a voting member of our national legislative body? Yeah, we can tell everybody else how to do it all around the world, can't we? I mean, we are spread so thin now that it's hard to figure out where we should next show up. But we also are very happy to be able to welcome people from tourists to ambassadors to our city. I'm sure it's no surprise to people in this room that we host probably the largest diplomatic community in the world. Many major decisions of global impact and import are made right in the District of Columbia. And, in so many ways, we're only a stone's throw from where these decisions are made. We're a diverse world capital, and without a doubt, our diplomatic community is an enormous asset to the city and contributes in so many ways to the culture, the diverse culture of our cities. We are the residents, the 660,000 residents of our city, are at a huge advantage because we have so many embassies, we have so many people from the international community, and it's such a wonderful opportunity for us to be able to come together and work together with those who are in the international community, who, for the time that they're here, of course, call the District of Columbia home. You know, what's surprising is I probably meet with, well, not me personally, but my administration probably meets with, I don't know, 350 delegations from across the world who come to our city hall, who want to relate to us. And frankly, it is such a rich experience to be able to do that, because I don't think there's another city in America that has the opportunity to be able to do that. We get an opportunity to relate to people and, frankly, to let them know what it is that we are doing. And there's a lot going on in the District of Columbia. One of the things that we're most proud of is the work that we've done in early childhood education. I had a chance to be in a meeting with other mayors yesterday in New York, and one of the foci of the three of this meeting was early childhood education. And you don't always know what other cities are doing, but as I listened, I realized that the District of Columbia is probably further ahead than any other city in the nation on early childhood education. We made a decision, actually, when I was the chairman of the council, I did the legislation that created universal access to pre-K3 and pre-K4. And we now have reached the point, we said we would get it done by 2014, and I guess that would be this year, wouldn't it? but we said we were going to have universal access for 3-year-olds and 4-year-olds. Today, in the District of Columbia, 94% of our 4-year-olds go to school all day, every day. 80% of our 3-year-olds go to school all day, every day. And the principle undergirding this is that there is no point that it's too early for a child to be able to be exposed to formal education. And we see the consequences of it, the negative consequences of it, of so many children who are at 5, 6, reach the 3rd grade and already have opted out because they don't have the wherewithal to be able to compete. I think many know that for children who are 4 or 5 years of age, they may have actually millions of words of gaps, disparities in their vocabulary based on what they've been exposed to. And if we're ever going to close the education gap, the achievement gap in this country and in this city, it's going to depend, in my opinion, on early childhood education. We focus a lot on sustainability, which I know is an issue that's important to the people in this room. And frankly, being able to interact with the international community as we do gives us opportunities to be able to impart what we've learned and to learn from them. We've also extended or signed new agreements with a number of cities like Bangkok, Beijing, which I'm going to be going back to. I was in Beijing just a little over 2 years ago, where we re-inaugurated our sister city agreement with Beijing. I'm going to be going to Beijing next month, where we will now be opening a 2nd office in China. When I was there in June of 2012, we opened an office in Shanghai. That office is now thriving, and now there'll be an office in Beijing in about the middle of September. We also have re-signed and renewed our relationship with Sunderland in the United Kingdom. With Rome, we had the mayor of Rome with us, I guess, Pat, about 1.5 years ago. Came here and spent some time with us. Brasilia. And then just last year, we established a sister city relationship with Addis Ababa. They were so excited about this. We had, I don't know, around 400 people who came to the City Hall, came to Wilson Building to participate in that signing, including, by the way, the mayor of Addis Ababa, who flew all the way from Addis Ababa just to participate in that ceremony. And I say that simply to say we understand how important those relationships are and are continuing to be able to nurture them at every opportunity. We also are working hard to promote investment in our city. How many of you are familiar with the EB-5 program? Okay, well, we'll get a few more, acquainted with it. It is a tremendous opportunity to invest in the United States, and we do it through the State Department and other federal agencies. But it's a program that essentially says if we can get somebody or an entity to invest at least $500,000, $500,000, and guarantee that there will be 10 jobs associated with it, it then will result in a visa being granted to that person to be able to come to the United States. And frankly, foreign investment, which is one of our 6 pillars of our economic development plan in the city, has been absolutely phenomenal over the last 2 or 3 years. How many of you all are familiar with City Center? Actually, I wouldn't have been surprised if no one was. But if you go to the heart of downtown, most of you probably are familiar with the 9th Street, New York Avenue area. There is a new development that didn't even exist, hadn't even been started when I became the mayor. It is now essentially finished. It's over 2 million square feet. It includes office space, includes residential space, it includes retail, it's a microcosm of a city. And the lion's share of that money came from Qatar. Qatar invested $702 million in the development of that project, and that project now is thriving and has further rejuvenated the heart of downtown Washington. And we probably have generated now through the EB-5 program close to probably close now to $300 million itself for projects all across the city. And we see it in terms of our international relationships as being an important way to continue to help grow our city. So we're really excited about having you all here, and I want to urge you while you're here to experience everything that you possibly can in the District of Columbia. And as you do so, I want you to spend every nickel that is in your pocket. Our economy is growing, but our economy continues to need, it needs rejuvenation. It needs, the kind of investment that I know you guys can make. As a matter of fact, I'll take a point of personal privilege. You can take a break for an hour, about 1 o'clock. This evening, yeah, whenever. Just, if you go home with any money in your pocket, and that, by the way, includes credit cards, it includes checks, it includes cash, it includes everything. If you're going to be, I'm going to be very disappointed if, in fact, you do that. The last thing I'll mention is that we think anyway, in fact, I know we are a top 5 city in so many ways in this nation. I don't know how many of you read Forbes magazine just about a week ago. Forbes magazine named the District of Columbia the coolest city in America. Now, no one out there probably knows precisely what being a cool city is. I don't know if I know precisely what it is, but it sounds doggone good to me, so we'll take it. In addition to that, we also were named the same week, this was somewhat coincidental, we were named the fittest city. We actually went out to try to get that. Minneapolis had been the fittest city in America for the last 2 or 3 years, and we said we're going to figure out a way to be able to move to the top spot, and we have. So we were named last week also the fittest city in America, and we are the #2 hippest city in America. Anybody ever heard of that designation? Anybody want to guess what the hippest city in America is? We're going for that one too, by the way. It actually is. It's in the state of Texas. As soon as I say that, people say Austin or Dallas. It isn't either. It's actually Houston. Houston actually has had an enormous amount of development. I was with the mayor of Houston yesterday. And, I wanted Mayor Parker to know we're coming for you. The last thing I want to mention is that, and this is on a very serious note, and that is we really don't experience the level of democracy that others in America do that is promised to all Americans. We don't. We have an elected congresswoman in the House of Representatives, but she has no vote. When it comes time to vote, she cannot vote on behalf of our city. The situation with our budget, a lot of people don't realize that we raise our own money in the city. The money that comes from the federal government to the District of Columbia comes to us in the same way that every other state gets its money. There are federal programs that fund, the states, and that's how we get our federal money. We raise, of our $11 billion budget, we raise well over $6 billion of that through our property taxes, our federal taxes, and our sales taxes. But yet, we have to send our budget up to the Congress to be approved by people who don't give a hoot and who know almost nothing about the inner workings of the District of Columbia or the inner workings of our budget. The same thing goes, by the way, for, and this is hard to believe, but every law, every law that is passed in the District of Columbia has to go to the Congress for approval. One of the congressional representatives I just mentioned, who said that the Congress was our local legislature, also put what's called a rider on our budget. And the rider was to say that we were going to be forbidden from spending our money now, not theirs, our money, on implementing a marijuana decriminalization law that was passed by the people of the District of Columbia. You know, all of us have opinions on virtually everything. That's a part of what it means to be in a democracy. But I learned, you know, in my civics classes that if an empowered group of people take an action, that action is to be respected. Doesn't mean I have to like it, but it has to be respected. And that's what we are striving for in the District of Columbia. The 660,000 of us who live in this city. And frankly, we need your help. We need your diplomacy, and we need your protocol to be able to demand that the people of the District of Columbia be given the same rights as every other American. So I'm delighted to be able to welcome you all to the District of Columbia. I hope you have a great forum over the next couple or 3 days, and I hope that you will come back to the District of Columbia at the earliest possible moment, because you will have had a very productive meeting and had a great time spending all your money in the District of Columbia. Thank you all very much.
Thank you so much, Mayor Gray. What an honor it is for us to be in the national capital of the United States and to be in such a fair city where we're going to spend lots of money and burn our plastic to a whole. But on behalf of the association, first, thank you for your time. And second, we would like you to know that we have made a donation in your honor to our 2014 charity that we are supporting. That's the Children's National Health System. So we made that donation in your honor. So thank you very, very much. And thank you to Dr. Elwood for her continuous support of the association and for making sure the mayor was here this morning. Great job, Pat.